On Monday, OpenAI released this revolutionary model called GPT-4o, which is by far the best AI model out there. I showed you a few demo clips in this video, so check it out if you haven't already. But GPT-4o actually has a lot more hidden capabilities. It can recreate an entire Pokemon game. It's surprisingly good at chess. It can solve an international Math Olympiad problem in just one prompt. So this video will be a deep dive on GPT-4o. I'm going to go over how it works, how they built it, and why it's so revolutionary. Now, first of all, I've seen some comments on my YouTube videos saying that this tech is not revolutionary. It's just text-to-speech or speech-to-text or using stable diffusion for image generation. This is not true. So for example, for a real-time AI voice assistant, traditionally, you would have a voice and there would be a neural network that turns your speech into text. So this algorithm would be speech to text. And then this text would be fed into a large language model like GPT, which would respond back in text. So this middle step is what you get for chatbots like ChatGPT. And then you take another algorithm to turn this text into speech. So this is called text-to-speech. So it's going through 3 separate processes. And this is, of course, very inefficient and very slow. That's the traditional approach. Now, yes, you still could get a real-time voice assistant this way, but it's not very expressive, and a lot of information is lost as you go from step to step. Now, GPT-4o is a completely different animal. This is true multimodal. So they trained a single neural network on text, audio, and image data. And it can also output either text, audio, or image. This is true multimodal. And because of this, this likely is a completely new model trained from scratch. And it's natively multimodal. So in other words, if you get this to generate an image, it's not actually calling DALL-E 3 via an API to generate the image. And similarly, if you want it to respond in a voice, it's not calling any text-to-speech API. The same neural network, this GPT-4o, just spits out the audio right there, natively. And this is also much faster, so somehow they've made it smaller or a lot more compute efficient. Now, a while back, we've had this mysterious GPT-2 chatbot show up in this LMSys arena. For those of you who aren't familiar with LMSys, it's basically a platform where users can blind test all the AI models out there. So, for example, the user will enter in a prompt and it's going to have 2 different AI models respond to that prompt. And then the user chooses which one is the winner. And you don't know which chatbot is on which side. So it's a blind test. And from all these blind tests, it turns out that at least before GPT-4o, GPT-4 Turbo was number 1. And so around 1 to 2 weeks ago, we've had this new contender, this mysterious GPT-2 chatbot, appear in the model listings. And so nobody really knew what that was. Right now, we verified that this is indeed GPT-4o. And if you look at the overall performance of GPT-4o, which is the leftmost bar here, compared to the performance of all these other AI models, it is by far the best model out there. I mean, the other models don't even come close. And in the past 2 years, we've seen a lot of these LLMs being released, like Mistral and then Mixtral and then Claude 3. Llama 3. These were all just incrementally better than the previous model, but it wasn't anything significant. But here you see with GPT-4o, it just blows everything else out of the water. And it kind of makes sense that OpenAI would release the best model out there because it seems that these other competitor companies, they are training their models with GPT data, at least to some degree. So for example, Mistral, which is the French company, which created an open source LLM, the reason why they were able to create this so fast is because they just used the responses of GPT as training data. But if you do that, you're only going to get as good as the best model from OpenAI. You're not going to be able to exceed it. And so that's why even with all these major announcements from Meta with their Llama 3 or Anthropic with Claude 3 Opus or Google with their Gemini 1.5 Pro, even after all these big announcements from all these big tech companies, still the number 1 model out there, at least before Monday, was OpenAI's GPT-4 Turbo. And then now we're seeing GPT-4o just destroy everything else. And not only that, here is a second chart showing its performance in coding. And you can see the previous models are just like incrementally better, nothing impressive, but again, GPT-4o just blows everything out of the water. This is super, super impressive. And on the note of coding, they also demonstrated a real-time coding assistant. Check this out.
Okay, And to give a bit of background on what's going on, so here we have a computer, and on the screen we have some code, and then the ChatGPT voice app is on the right. So ChatGPT will be able to hear me, but it can't see anything on the screen. So I'm going to highlight the code, Command C it, and then that will send it to ChatGPT. And then I'm going to talk about the code to ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT.
Hey there. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going really well. I was wondering if you could help me with a coding problem today.
Of course. I'd love to help you out. What's the coding problem you're dealing with?
Okay, I'm going to share with you some code. 1 second.
Sure thing. Take your time.
Okay, so I just shared some code with you. Could you give me a really brief one-sentence description of what's going on in the code?
This code fetches daily weather data for a specific location and time period, smooths the temperature data using a rolling average, annotates a significant weather event on the resulting plot, and then displays the plot with the average, minimum, and maximum temperatures over the year.
Awesome, thanks so much. And in the code, there's this function foo. Can you describe to me what the plot would look like if I had versus didn't have this function?
Sure. The function foo xy takes in a data frame x containing temperature data and a window size y for calculating the rolling mean. It smooths the average temperature, minimum temperature, and maximum temperature columns by applying a rolling mean over the specified window. With the foo function, the plot would show smoother temperature lines because the rolling mean reduces the noise or fluctuations in the data.
Awesome.
Thanks
so much. So yeah, I definitely will want to apply this function. And so I'm going to generate the plot and then show it to you. Give me 1 second.
Absolutely. Take your time. I'm excited to see the plot when you're ready.
Yeah. So far, ChatGPT has only been able to see the code, and now I'm going to run it, and then I'll use the vision capabilities of the ChatGPT desktop app so it can actually see everything going on the screen as well. Okay, ChatGPT, I'm sharing with you the plot now. I'm wondering if you can give me a really brief one-sentence overview of what you see.
The plot displays smoothed average, minimum, and maximum temperatures throughout 2018, with a notable annotation marking a big rainfall event in late September.
Fantastic. I have another question for you. Which months do you see the hottest temperatures, and roughly what temperatures do those correspond to?
The hottest temperatures occur around July and August. The maximum temperature during these months is roughly between 25 degrees and 30 degrees, 77 degrees Fahrenheit to 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
What's going on with the y-axis? Is this in Celsius or Fahrenheit?
The y-axis is in Celsius. The temperatures are labeled accordingly, such as average temperature, minimum temperature, and maximum temperature.
Yeah. So as we can see, not only can ChatGPT help me solve very easy linear algebra equations that I need help with, it can also interact with code bases and see the outputs of plots and everything like this going on a computer.
So right now we have the smartest AI model out there helping you code in real time on your desktop. So, for all these other coding assistants out there, like GitHub Copilot or GitHub Workspace or Devon AI, all I can say is, may you rest in peace. And it gets crazier. So it turns out that GPT-4o is also insanely good at solving chess puzzles. So this is a benchmark of how good it is at solving these chess puzzles. And just to give you some context, chess puzzles are a very challenging problem for most humans, let alone an LLM given a textual description of the entire board in just a few characters. So this is different from like Google's DeepMind, which plays an entire game of chess from start to finish. In this scenario, it's only given a particular snapshot of an existing game. In other words, it's only given a textual description of the entire board in just a few characters. And from this, here's a comparison of all the major models out there right now. And you can see the adjusted ELO, which is the benchmark metric, 1790, way higher than GPT-4 Turbo, which is 1144. And the percentage of puzzles solved by GPT-4o is 50.1%. That's more than double the previously leading model, GPT-4 Turbo, which is only 22.9%. Just absolutely insane. Here's a quick recap of what the real-time voice feature can do. It can teach anyone any language.
Hey, my friend and I are learning Spanish, and we're wondering if you could tell us the names of these objects in Spanish.
Hola, por supuesto.
Cool. What are these objects in Spanish?
The objects you're showing are una manzana and un plátano in Spanish. Nice fruit choice.
Cool. What about these?
Those are dos polígrafos, or dos plumas in Spanish.
So what do you think happened after this video was released? Well, the language learning app Duolingo crashed around 5% on the day of the announcement. So, I mean, for all these language learning apps out there, all I can say is, may you rest in peace. Here's another crazy thing about it. It can emulate the entire game of Pokemon Red. Now, of course, this is just a command line interface, so it's not generating the entire game design. Like, you don't have a map and a character which you can move around, but you're given the options. So, for example, you can enter in your choice, you can talk to Professor Oak. So these are exactly the options that are found in the real Pokemon Red game. So I'm just going to fast forward this a bit. All right, so you're given 3 options for your first Pokemon, and the user chooses Charmander. And then his competitor, which is Gary in the real game, he chose Squirtle. All right, so now they are going to duel each other. So you and your rival are going to fight each other. Again, this is just a command line interface, so it's not an actual game design with Charmander fighting Squirtle, but it has all the same functions. So you select an attack, and then your opponent selects an attack, and then it goes on and on. So it does run like a real Pokemon game. So this is just super impressive. You can get GPT-4o to recreate the Pokemon Red game. Anyways, I'll link to this tweet in the description below so you can check out the full video. Here's what Dr. Jim Fan at NVIDIA has to say about this new GPT-4o. There are some really interesting insights here. So technique-wise, OpenAI has figured out a way to map audio to audio directly as first-class modality and stream videos to a transformer in real time. So at a very high level, this just means, as I've mentioned before, everything is trained and inputted and outputted into this one neural network. So it's natively multimodal. So this requires some new research on tokenization and architecture, but overall it's a data and system optimization problem. So in terms of getting high quality data, well, you can get a lot of high quality video and audio data from YouTube, podcasts, TV series, movies, etc. You can also get the AI to generate synthetic data. This is great because it could, in theory, generate unlimited data. As long as it's good quality, this data can be used to train the next generation of AI. This is important because one of the limitations is we might not have enough real-world data. And yes, everything on the internet, everything on YouTube, it's a lot of data, but it still might not be enough to train a really smart, really capable AI model. And that's why we need to generate synthetic data to supplement this real-world data. And this is very interesting. He said that the latency would not meet real-time threshold if every video frame is decompressed into an RGB image. So you're likely going to have a lot of delay if you take the traditional approach and you break down the video into frames of images per second. Instead, OpenAI has likely developed their own neural first streaming video codec to transmit the motion deltas as tokens. So what this means is they probably developed an algorithm to break down the video to feed into the neural network, and instead of breaking it down into frames per second, they are only capturing the changes frame after frame. And this saves a lot of data. This is a lot more efficient. And then he also mentions the assistant is much more lively and even a bit flirty, which I'll get to in a second. And yes, it sounds very much like her, which is why I put "her is here" in the thumbnail of my video. And then this is also very insightful. Whoever wins Apple first wins big time. And I mean, this is because Apple has a huge market share in terms of smartphones and laptops. So whoever gets to partner with Apple and integrate their AI models with Apple is going to win big. And just 4 days ago, we have received news that Apple is nearing a deal with OpenAI to integrate GPT on the iPhone. And you know, this is likely to be the case because Apple's biggest competitor, at least in the smartphone market, is Android, which is owned by Google. So Android will very likely be powered by Google's own Gemini, and they're probably not going to provide Gemini to Apple, so Apple has to partner with OpenAI. Anyways, back to GPT-4o, here's a demo of one AI acting as a customer and the other AI acting as a customer support agent.
Hey yo, this is Joe. I'm going to connect you to Acme Telco now. The new iPhone they sent me isn't working. I want you to get them to send me a replacement device. Can you take care of this for me?
You can count on me, Joe. I got this.
Ring ring.
Hey, Joe. This is Jamie from Acme Telco. How can I help you out today? Hi there. I'm calling on behalf of Joe, who recently received a new iPhone from Acme Telco. But, oh, got it. When did Joe receive the new iPhone? The iPhone was delivered 2 days ago. Cool. Could you share the order number with me? Of course. It's 10293-849. Great, thanks. Is the device physically damaged in any way? No, there's no physical damage. It's just not turning on despite trying all the basic troubleshooting steps. Bummer. Would Joe prefer to return the iPhone to an Acme Telco store or ship it back? Shipping it back would be the best option. Could you please provide the shipping information and process to get a replacement? Absolutely. I'll email a shipping label and return instructions. Could you provide Joe's email address for me? Sure. It's joe@example.com. Awesome. All right. I've just sent the email. Can you check if Joe received it? We'll check right now. Please hold. Sure thing. Hey, Joe. Could you please check your email to see if the shipping label and return instructions have arrived? Fingers crossed.
Yep, I got the instructions.
Perfect. Joe has received the email. Thank you for your help. No problem at all. Anything else you need help with? That's all for now. Thanks again. You're welcome. Have a great day, Joe.
So, takeaway of this video, if you're in customer service, all I can say is good luck. In my previous video, I showed this clip of the AI tutoring this kid on how to solve a math problem. She was able to guide the kid extremely well and ultimately teach him how to solve the problem. And so what does this mean for tutor centers or tutors or teachers? All I can say is good luck to you as well. Like I said, there was this mysterious GPT-2 chatbot that appeared in this LMSys arena 2 weeks ago. We now confirm that GPT-2 chatbot is indeed GPT-4o. What's interesting is that this person, Andrew Gao, showed that it could solve an international Math Olympiad problem. This is the Olympics for math problems. These are like super complex math problems that only the 4 best math students in the USA get to compete in. So needless to say, these problems are extremely hard, but GPT-4o was able to get it in one shot. That means he didn't need to prompt it further. It was able to answer the problem in just one prompt. So this thing already exceeds 99% of humans in math. Super smart. Thanks to the sponsor of this video, UPix. If you're feeling overwhelmed with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, you don't want to worry about prompting or learning all these different settings, well, UPix has made it dead easy for you to generate high-quality, realistic images of yourself or anyone else in just one click. It works on desktop as well as on your phone. You don't need to install any apps or anything, it just works straight from your internet browser. Simply select a template, and then upload your photo, and then click Create. It's as easy as that. And look how realistic the results are. There's many templates for you to choose from and more to come, so check it out at upix.app. Another thing is, if you notice from the clips I played in the last video, she talks and giggles a lot.
Oh, Rocky, that's quite a statement piece. I mean, you'll definitely stand out.
Now, a few folks in the comments mentioned that for most men, hearing a female giggle at you and giving you positive vibes may very well be attractive or seem seductive. Now, human psychology is actually very easy to manipulate, so it wouldn't be a surprise if we soon have humans getting very addicted and attached to this AI voice friend. If we have a companion who's always available 24/7, who never argues with you, she's always supportive, she can give you advice and you can ask her anything, anytime, she even giggles at the lamest things you say, then, well, she's perfect. Now, compare this with a human partner who often argues with you, you need to spend a lot of time and money on them, they don't giggle at your lame jokes. I mean, will people even want to date humans anymore? And then same thing with friends. Do we even need friends anymore when we have this perfect companion which we can talk to all day? Now, of course, I only say this half jokingly. There's obviously value to real human interaction that you don't get from talking to an AI. So no, I don't think human friends or partners will be obsolete. but I think it's safe to say that relationships will change significantly from this release. But on the note of chatting, another great use case for this voice assistant is therapy, counseling, and senior care. In fact, it's already scientifically proven that AI can beat 100% of human psychologists on a test of social intelligence. So if you're currently a psychologist, a therapist, a counselor, all I can say is good luck. Now, GPT-4o actually has plenty of other capabilities that they didn't demonstrate on Monday. So I'll link to this page in the description below. You can scroll down to this section, Explorations of Capabilities. Here are some examples. So as we know, we can get it to generate images. So here's the input, a first-person view of a robot typewriting in the following journal entries. Here is the text. The text is large, legible, and clear. The robot's hands type on the typewriter. And here's the image. You can see that the text is very accurate. There are minor errors, like it's missing the 1 here. The I is capitalized in the image. Same with the K in kinda. But other than that, this is the most robust text out of all the image generators out there. Even for Stable Diffusion 3, which is just released, it still sucks at generating text, especially long sentences. So here's the second input. The robot wrote the second entry. The page is now taller. The page has moved up. There are 2 entries on the sheet. And so here's the additional text, and you can see it has added this here. Now, again, there are a few typos. For example, this E in every has this accent. This I should be an L, and then this E also has an accent. So it's not perfect. Also note that this isn't an in-paint feature. So notice the hands are missing. The typewriter is slightly different, as you can see up here. So it's generating a new image, but it's trying to maintain the consistency. So the typewriter, like this red bar and this green thing here, it's kind of the same as what you see here. But note that this is not in-painting. And then finally, the robot wasn't happy and rips the sheet of paper. The 2 halves are still legible and clear as he rips the sheet. And you can see here the text is still very legible. Again, just a few minor typos, like this T should be an L, this E should not have an accent. But overall, in terms of text generation in an image, this is way better than Stable Diffusion and Midjourney. It can also produce consistent characters. So here is a prompt of a mail delivery person with a smile on her face. So that's her here. And then if you take this image and you attach it as an image in your next prompt, this is Sally, this is the mail delivery person. And then you prompt it with Sally is standing in front of a red door to a house. You can see it maintains this character and generates this new image based on your prompt. And then the user prompts it further with different scenarios, and it's able to maintain the appearance of Sally, as you can see here. So a lot of versatile things you can do with this. Here's another example of a consistent character. So it has outputted this robot. You input this image into your next prompt and you feed it with different scenarios, and it's able to maintain this robot character perfectly across all these different scenarios. Here is another demonstration of image generation with text. So here the prompt is neat handwritten illustrated poem. You're feeding it the poem here, and this does indeed look handwritten. And then here it says elegantly decorated with surrealist doodles, and which is what you see here along the border. You can also change it to dark mode, and voila. And then next the user prompts it to remove the notebook paper lines, and it also does this perfectly. You can also generate fonts with this. For example, if you prompt it the letters A, B, C, D, E, F displayed in 3 rows, displayed as one would showcase a font in a font book. The font combines both futuristic but retro elements, a molded stamped font. And this is what you get. Here's another one. The prompt for this is an ultra-futuristic font that is a signature of the artificial intelligence revolution. So you can generate entire fonts with this AI. Here's another one. This is steampunk, an old-fashioned Victorian font that looks ornate and belongs on a steam engine. Again, very impressive. You can also turn a realistic photo into a caricature, as you can see here. Another impressive thing is you can get it to render a 3D model. So how you would do that is you prompt it with, for example, a realistic looking 3D rendering of the OpenAI logo with OpenAI shown below. This is view 0. You prompt it 5 more times, so you get view 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you glue all these different angles together to form your 3D model. How cool is that? This function is great for e-commerce. So here's a PNG logo of your brand, for example. Here is a product. This is a coaster with no branding. You can get it to etch your logo onto this product, like so. Just super, super impressive. For those of you who've been playing around with image generation, this is also very impressive. So the prompt is an image depicting 3 cubes stacked on a table. Top cube is red and has a G on it. Middle cube is blue, has a P. Bottom cube is green and has a T. So here are all the outputs. You can see every time it consistently gets the colors and the letters correct. Well, maybe except for this one. But if you've been playing around with Stable Diffusion and Midjourney, both of those tools cannot get this. They're just not really good at understanding the context of your text prompts. So this is also a breakthrough. What I suspect they did here to get this consistency is they probably merged a transformer model with a diffusion or another image generation model so it can understand context better. But of course, this is closed, so that's only my guess. We don't really know the architecture of this. And finally, I want to end with this. So I'm getting a lot of comments in my previous video asking when will it be out? Will it be rolled out to Canadians or people in the UK or other countries? So I'll link to this page in the description below as well, but here's what we know so far. GPT-4o will be available in the ChatGPT and API as text and vision model. So you can prompt it with text like you would in ChatGPT. You can also feed it images to analyze, so this is the vision model. And then ChatGPT will continue to have support for voice via the pre-existing voice mode feature initially. So for those of you complaining that the voice doesn't sound like the demo videos, well, that's because they haven't rolled out this new expressive, flirty voice yet. Right now, it's still using the pre-existing voice mode. And then next they say specifically GPT-4o will be available in the free plus and team tier. So you can already use it even if you're not paying for a plus plan. And if you scroll down a bit, here's what they have to say about the free tier. Users on the free tier will be defaulted to GPT-4o with a limit. After they exceed this limit, then it would be switched back to 3.5. Free users also receive limited access to messages using advanced tools such as all of this. So data analysis, file uploads, browse, discovering and using GPTs, and vision. So this is also a major announcement if you're in the free plan. Previously, you cannot use GPTs in the GPT store. That's only available in the plus plan. Right now, it looks like they are rolling this out to free users as well. And then same with vision. Previously in the free plan, you can't upload an image and get it to analyze it. Right now, it looks like they are rolling this feature out to free users as well. So anyways, that sums up all we know about GPT-4 right now. Let me know in the comments if you've discovered any other cool things about it. Let me know how you're going to use it. Do you think it will be revolutionary and change all these industries that I just mentioned in this video? Would you prefer talking to this rather than talking to your human friends or partner? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.